Hey, if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I don't know why I'm doing this. Alright, so first let me say that I am petrified of needles. Like, that is no joke, alright? I have a tattoo already, and it was such a mission to get, alright? Having said that, I'm issuing a tattoo challenge. Now, a lot of you might be wondering, what is that? Well, there's a link in the description below. Please go check it out. It's called the Tattoo Challenge. In a nutshell, if you guys can get me to 5,000k subscribers before the 16th of August, I'm gonna get a tattoo chosen by you guys. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I decided to do this. Having said that, enjoy the show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Let's Talk. Tonight, I have, or joining me again, is Dee Martin. Some of you may have encountered her on the Twitter sphere under Who is Dee, I believe the handle is, but she will correct me if I'm wrong. And she's right to my right, and we are going to be talking about pro-life or pro-choice. Where do you fall? What do they mean? And can we ever find a common ground to this debate? I will give my opinion in just a moment, but I think Dee, being a young part of the young generation upcoming at the moment in her career in law, maybe you can give us, because I think it's been kind of, I've shown my hand in this channel that I am a bit of a boomer. Like, we had a discussion last time you were on after the show that I didn't even know what pro-choice and pro-life was.
Yeah.
So I want you to explain it again from your opinion, and then we'll get into it. So, yeah.
Okay, so very simply put, pro-life and pro-choice is basically two opposite ends of the abortion debate. Pro-choice basically stands for the group of people who believe that it's a woman's right to choose whether or not she wants to carry her pregnancy to term. Whereas pro-life means when you're of the view that no, actually, babies in the womb, fetuses, embryos, whatever, they are inherently valuable as they they do well, they can be considered human life according to the pro-life view. And as for a middle ground between these two, it I don't think that a official middle an official middle ground will ever be achieved because one side believes that this is a matter of life and death, and the other side believes that, well, actually this is a woman's body and the woman has the right to choose between life or death. But yeah, that's basically what it is. Very basic.
Okay. In the comments, let us know if you agree with those definitions. While speaking of the comments, Yanni has joined us. Thank you, Yanni, for joining us. Mario Pistorius is here. Hey, buddy, how are you? Matthew Payne saying, hey, hey. Michael Herbst saying, a young person with a cervix. Lol. Catherine saying hi, everyone. And Dean also joining us saying, hey, Dee, what's up? Gebrok is starting now. Sorry. Okay. So cool. Those definitions. Let's see. Here's. I'm just gonna give my opinion because
Yes,
honestly,
thank you. I've been waiting for this.
yeah. Like I this whole pro-life, pro-choice thing. Here's where I sit on the topic of abortion. Okay. I firmly believe that it is a woman's right to choose what she wants to do with the child. Okay? Firmly believe that. However, I think there is certain things a woman needs to take into consideration if she chooses to abort. So, for example, let's say it's obviously after conception. It's at that point where a fetus is starting to grow. I don't think abortion should be the first thing. There's adoption. There's like adoption, pretty much. And I know that for a woman, like, that might be a hard option to do. Some women are like, yeah, but I don't want to put my body through that and stuff like that. But I think that you really should take that into consideration, because I've met some women who have aborted their children, and they live with that every day. And then yes, when you give up your child for for adoption, you're going to live with that every day. But at least there's some kind of solace in the thought that your child is living, hopefully having a great life and living its days. And maybe one day you'll meet it, maybe you won't. But that's also something you have to live with. Um, the other side of it is I think it's more because okay, so put it this way: if you do the adoption thing, right? You can try and reach out to the parents secretly and say, hey, can I get a picture or can I at least see or whatever, somehow find the child and just at a distance be like, are you okay? Yes, walk away. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but there is that possibility if you really are curious. Some people don't care and they'll just give it up for adoption and then they move on with their lives, and that's fine too. It's your life. Um, what I've been told about aborting is women, the psychological effect of it, the whole like what if I had that child, what would it have been? It can drive a woman crazy. Maybe not all of them, but I've heard from some of them that yes, it does, and it's a hard curse to live with. Now, when it comes to um, also the topic you and I were, well, not the topic, but we also discussed this after the show last time where we were like, I also think that if it's a matter of life and death for the mother giving birth, then, I think the mother should live. If it's a matter of, look, I think that's pretty much the only situations where abortion is questionable or an option. What I have seen
What
from
about
the
sorry, what about rape or incest?
oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. I think again, like that's most women would want, they've been raped and they want to abort the child. I'm kind of for that. I would say that's fine. If you don't want to have that child, if it was unconsent sexual intercourse with no consent, then that's your choice. Um, the part that what I hear from the pro-choice as well, I think it's pro-choice. You need to correct me if I'm wrong again, Boomer.
Yeah.
Is I'm seeing a lot of things going around where they're trying to promote abortion as a type of contraceptive. And that is where I'm like, okay, whoa, there's a line. Now we're talking about human lives here that you are like endlessly killing off, at a certain point. And I don't think, put it this way, I don't think abortion should be used as contraceptive. That just gives the wrong message. What are we saying to our children about the whole sex issue? What are we saying, or not issue, but like topic? What are we saying? What message are we putting out? Then how is it okay to have an abortion because you made a mistake? There are other forms. There's the pill. There's condoms. There's all that stuff. And also, let me also say this about abortion. This is my opinion. Every situation is different. Every person is different. And that's where I'm kind of pro-choice in that regard because I don't know the situation of that woman. I don't know what they went through. I don't know how they got the baby. I don't know anything, right? So if that woman decides they want to abort because I don't know, they again, like we said, raped, mom's gonna die, that kind of stuff. But if it was a mistake, I strongly urge the woman to at least consider other options. Because I don't think abortion should be used as a contraceptive, and that's where I kind of draw the line with the choice thing. I said it. If you don't like it, too bad. Yeah.
Okay, so based on that, I think we can agree that you are pro-choice.
Well, I don't know. Am I? I think like I'm not like because pro-choice again is like we use abortion as contraceptive, and I'm against that.
Not necessarily, no. There are a lot of pro-choice people who. Okay. Let me ask you. Okay, so firstly, let me just say that I'm pro-life.
Mm,
So I can't think of a single instance in which I would condone abortion except for when the mother's life is at risk.
fair
That is
enough.
my moral stance on abortion. In the legal sphere, it's a bit different because then it's obviously not just based on my morals. I have to take other people into account as well. But let me ask you this: do you think that human life is intrinsically valuable?
Of course.
Okay, so would you consider a fetus or an embryo to be human life?
Yes.
Okay, so do you think that because human life is intrinsically valuable, do you think that it's okay that mothers can make a choice to end that human life?
Whew, man, that's a good question. You see, now, okay. Man, I don't think people are gonna like what I have to say about this. Please don't unsubscribe, but subscribe. Um, okay, so this is where I kind of get nervous because
Don't be nervous. Like, just say what you want to say.
eh, I'm not a woman. Like, I don't feel
Okay.
I have a right to make that decision for a woman and fight a good fight for a woman. It's almost like feminism. Like Mikhail said it on our show the other day. We as men, we can be allies to the feminist movement, but we're not feminists technically. Like, I mean, in the sense of like we're a woman now, we're fighting the good fight. You know, we're not a woman. We can be allies and help you fight the good fight. And that's how I kind of feel about the whole abortion topic. Like, I'll like if you decide that you want to abort, I will be there to say, or I mean, obviously, I'm not going to go into every now woman that's going to abort and like I'm going to walk into their um, ward and be like, okay, but have you thought of this? Like, I'm saying, like close friends, you, whoever that is thinking about it, I'll ask hard questions like, are you going to be comfortable with living with the fact that you will never know who this child could have been, what it could have been? Are you going to be okay with the fact that you are killing someone? Like even though it may not be in the laws of like the Constitution or whatever, I know that you can abort, but like you said, I do regard a fetus as a life. It's starting to grow things. It's starting to happen. A human is starting to develop. So, in a religious sense, you're killing something, and it's not an ant. It's not a fly. It's not a cockroach. It's not an animal or whatever. I mean, the other day, my cats attacked a pigeon and it died, and I was crying. Like it's like I love life,
Right.
and it's I want to make that person realize the probably one of the most difficult decisions a woman has to do in her entire life. I don't care if you're pro-choice. It has got to be one of the most unbelievably difficult choices to make to decide that. And you
Absolutely.
need to look at all the aspects. And if that person, after I've asked those questions and is hell bent in saying yes, 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 maybe the moment before it happens, they'll change their mind. Maybe. Maybe I would have casted doubt or something. But if they decide to do it, they decide to do it. Who am I now as a man to completely stop that, is what I'm trying to say. We're all entitled to our choice in that way.
Well, see, here's the thing, okay? Feminism guilt trips almost everyone into supporting the pro-choice cause. That's why I'm not a feminist, because I'm pro-life. And unfortunately, if you're pro-life, you simply are not accepted into the feminist movement. You are accused of wanting to put women's bodies under the control of men. In fact, also the other thing I wanted to mention is that religion should not be brought into the abortion debate. People love to assume that because I'm Christian, I'm pro-life, when actually, um, I used to be like atheist agnostic for a while in my life. I think for a year or two, and during that time was when I actually became pro-life. Um, so that's how that works. I just want to get back to like you I noticed that when you were giving your opinion, your emphasis was on the woman the entire time. And
Here comes
honestly,
that lawyer degree now. Here comes that lawyer degree now.
listen, I listen. I have to because I don't I respect your views, but I don't like this way of thinking where you feel that because you're a male, you don't have a say in things concerning women. And abortion does not just concern women. It takes two people to make a baby, not just one. I know that one person in this equation has the uterus and will be carrying the baby. And I mean, there is a mosquito in my room.
That
Sorry.
was so random.
Women can think that's unfortunate and they can take that out, but God or whoever they believe made them the way that they are. But that's just how it is. Females have the uterus and we just have to carry the babies. That's how it is. Now you can choose not to have a baby. That's fine. Okay? You can choose if you want to, you can choose not to have sex ever, not to get married, all that, and you can just choose not to have a baby, and that's completely fine. Like you aren't expected to carry a baby if you're a woman. There is obviously still the option of not having kids. Um, but I mean, if you are going to open yourself up to that possibility, then you are going to be the one that carries the child. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. And so this debate mainly concerns women, but I mean, fathers are very much involved as well. I mean, especially when you consider that fathers don't have a choice at all. They have to go along with whatever choice the mother makes. And I find that completely horrible, honestly. I personally, I don't want to encourage a culture of deadbeat fathers as we already have in our society. But I think that if we allow abortion to continue, then for the sake of equality, I think men should have an option to like financially abort their child as well if they choose to do so, because there is no way that we can only leave that option up to the mother and not to the father just because it is the mother that's carrying the child. It's very convenient to forget that two people made that baby when you don't consider that baby to be a human life and when you don't consider that baby to be a baby. Another like problem people have about this debate is the use of the word baby, which is so ridiculous. I mean,
All right,
well, firstly,
before we get into the term of baby, because that's a whole nother discussion. Let's just for the woke people that might be watching and say, "How dare you use the word or term baby?" It's not a woke channel. All right, so um, to your point, you're right. I can level with you that yes, maybe I do have a bad habit of saying like when it comes, but I wasn't talking. See, that's the thing. If my wife got pregnant, I would ask the same questions if she said I want to abort it. But before we even got there, we would have a discussion like, okay, cool, we messed up, we weren't planning this. What do we do? Let's have honest discussion about it. And I know my wife, she'd probably say, we're going to have the baby. And I say, okay, cool. I've always stood like this with my wife. We've attempted to be careful when we, do the loving. And if, condom breaks, whatever happens, mistakes happen, unfortunately, fortunately, whoever, we will decide when it happens, but the chances are we're probably going to have the baby. More than likely, like 90% chance the baby's going to happen. And the only reason why I say 90% chance is because I don't want to say 100% because we're not planning on having a baby. So yeah, there we might have a discussion about adoption. I know that that's something we've already kind of discussed. Like if we're in a situation where we can't raise a child, then we would do adoption before we do abortion. Like that, abortion for us is only on the table if her life is in danger or God forbid something else happened terrible and she doesn't want to have the kid for whatever reason. But I mean, it's only life or death here. Um, So that's on a personal level, like that's real personal. That's between me and my wife. I still feel that I can't speak for you. Like if you and your boyfriend now have a baby, right? Or sorry, you get pregnant, right? That's a discussion for you and your boyfriend or your husband or whatever. I can't come into
Mhm.
that relationship now and say, yeah, but D, you need to have that baby now. Or D, you need to abort. I can't say it because I don't know so many things about your relationship. I don't know where you stand financially. I don't know where you stand emotionally with your boyfriend. I don't know where you stand, like in general, um, like are you ready? Do you are you mentally ready? All that stuff. I don't know that about you. I don't. I'm not in that relationship. So yes, I agree with you. Men shouldn't just be like, oh well, it's the women's decision. I 100% agree with that. But I was talking like general women, like women I don't know. If they want to decide to do it, I don't know you. What right do I have to tell you now, like, oh well, you're not allowed to abort that child because reasons. I
Okay, no,
don't know your
see,
situation.
the the problem I have with that is that you're saying that from the point that you are a man, and therefore you don't have a say in other women's marriages or whatever they choose to do
But
with
I'm
their
not.
body.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not their. I'm not their husband. I'm not their boyfriend. I'm
No,
not.
exactly. No, completely understand that, but like here's the thing. Um, do you think that the debates around abortion, the legal and the moral debate,
Okay.
do you think that it is then limited to women? Or do
Hmm.
you think that when you're in a room with lots of people and you guys are just having a debate, an academic debate about abortion, do you think that you as a man should have a say in it as well?
I see that lawyer degree. You've been studying hard, man. That's really good.
Thank you.
Now I'm in a conundrum. I'm not gonna lie. Man.
You
Okay.
should never take that space.
So let me
Yeah.
just make sure I understand before I answer. Okay. So what you're saying is I get the room one. The room, like if there's a discussion in a room, there's a table, whatever, and there's men and women. And we're discussing abortion. Should I be part of that discussion as a man?
Okay,
Is that
l-
what you're saying?
let me try to rephrase it and
Okay.
try to use myself. Do you think that I should be able to have a say in the debates around abortion?
Yes.
So why should you not?
Well, I.
Because you're a man.
Oh man, she's good. Oh man. Okay. All right. I see. I think I see what you're saying. I think. Okay. So I think what the misunderstanding here could be, and not maybe it's not a misunderstanding, but if there's a debate about abortion, obviously men, I guess, should say something because, like you said, it's two people. Yes, okay, so that makes sense. You can't have a child without a man. So, yes, men should have a say too. I think what I'm trying to say when I say like women, like sometimes I feel like people get too opinionated on it, and they generalize too much, like, well, all women shouldn't be allowed to get abortion. And I'm like, yeah, but we don't
Mhm.
know everyone's individual journey and story and all that stuff. So when you now make it general, it's unfair to certain individuals. And that's what I was trying to get at. So it's not that as a man I don't feel I should have a say. If I was a woman, I'd probably feel the same way. Like, well, I'm a woman. I'm going through my own journey. That woman's going through her own journey. If she gets pregnant and wants to abort it, that's fine. But I'm not going to. Like everyone has their own way of thinking about it, and that's where I'm like, that's where it's
Well,
like,
that completely takes the debate off the table because now we aren't allowed to tell each other what to do with your unborn babies.
but
The
but
other
that's the
thing here
thing
is,
though. But that's the thing though.
yeah,
You again, two people are having this baby, right? It.
hmm
I don't think outside the relationship of two people. that others should decide what that couple must do with the baby, because each couple is different. Again, if sometimes I think, and this is also something I didn't mention, sometimes I think certain people shouldn't have babies because
I'll completely agree.
they're not financially ready, they're not mentally ready, they're not anywhere near ready, and then it just breeds that continuous batch of just humans that are not raised properly, and then go down a criminal path. They might not, certain aspects like that in society. And I'm not saying everyone. I'm not saying everyone. I'm just saying like there are some people that out there that have nothing and have raised brilliant, brilliant children. Good on them. 100% love that. I've met a few people that were in that situation. They've turned out fine. But those good hero stories are far and in between. And when it comes to a couple who fall pregnant, whether it be by accident, and now they want to decide about the abortion thing, I don't think a government should get involved. I don't think anyone else should get involved. They need to decide on their own. And if they decide to do it, know the risks and know the consequences, and hopefully make the right choice. Because I think the right choice is keeping the child or adoption, right? But if you can't, that's the thing. If you can't afford a kid, if you can't mentally support a kid, you need to have a very serious discussion about the adoption thing. And I know adoption will lead into a whole nother discussion about the system's flaw and the child gets to never have a kid thing. Well, that's where you got to make a tough decision. It's a very tough decision. And you got three choices, which we're discussing now: keep, adopt, or abort. And I cannot speak for other couples. I just can't do it. I don't think there's any scenario where you can convince me that I can speak for other couples. And maybe I'm not understanding everything, but that's just how I feel.
Okay, I'm gonna give you another
And wait,
scenario.
before you do that, for the comments, I see you guys going crazy in the comments. Please keep it coming. I will address them. I promise, but we're in this.
Okay, okay. You and your wife, you guys have a baby. Okay, a baby girl, and she is, let's say, right now she's 2 months old. Okay, now there's me, um, one of your friends, and I know that you and your wife, you two have been starving your 2 month old baby. Okay. Do you think that I have an obligation to help your child get out of your house or to alert the police or social services or anyone? Do you think I should try and do something about it? You're killing your baby. You're starving your child.
Wow. Okay. You're
If you're
really. No, you're good. You're good. You're very good because you're really. Woo! You're putting me through my paces. Okay, cool. No, this is what I love. This is what I love. This is what I love. All right. Um, okay, I hear you. I hear you because obviously, if I ever heard of that, like if that was happening, I would obviously report the parents.
exactly.
Yeah.
So then why would you not do the same thing for a baby that is in the womb? Is that baby's life less valuable than the life of an infant?
Ladies and gentlemen, I highly recommend Dee Martin to be your lawyer if you ever get in trouble. She's brilliant.
Thank you.
um, oh man, you got me there. I gotta admit. I'll look. Okay, so let me wrap my head around this. You really got me here. I'm not gonna lie. Like now, I'm like shit. Okay.
You know
It's
this
not that I
this
want to. Let me make one thing clear. Sorry. Let me make one thing
Mhm.
clear. It's not that I want to win, guys. Like I want to make that clear. It's not that I'm trying to win this argument. I
Yeah,
like this because now I'm thinking, okay, so maybe the way I was thinking is wrong. This is what I like about these discussions. Um, so now I'm questioning, what I was thinking before and applying certain like, okay, what ifs and this and that. So it's not that I'm trying to win. I, when you think you're right or you think you It's not that I think I'm right. I think that I had a principle, and I thought my principle was good. So but now it's like, okay, now looking at it from the other side, it's like, okay, cool. Now I'm in this situation. How do I feel about this?
Right.
And I said that an embryo is life. And I get where you're coming at. Now you're going to kill that, and just like a parent who has a 2-month-old child is starving, they're killing it. You would report that, but you wouldn't report an abortion. Here's my question.
Okay.
Can you really compare the situation of an abortion to the situation of a starving child?
Well,
Besides the aspect, no, besides the aspect that the child is starving, the child's already been born. It's developed, it's ready, it's out there, boom. Now it's dying a slow death. Embryo, for argument's sake, just starting out, has life, but isn't fully developed. That counts for something. Now I know it
no,
sounds, yeah, but it doesn't. It's some would argue that there isn't a conscious yet. There isn't a self awareness yet. Um, you know, a child that's 2 months old, for some reason, I feel is more important, if I can put it that way, than an embryo. That's the feeling I'm getting now.
so you're willing to say that some lives are more important than others.
I have a headache. Does that mean?
Trust me, I get it. It's this isn't an easy topic for me either, because sometimes I really struggle, because some people will really straight off say that a baby in the womb is not a baby. It's not a human life,
Mm,
and an abortion is a completely moral act. And those people are the most difficult to argue with, because their argument is actually consistent.
mm,
The problem that you're having is that your argument is not the most consistent pro-choice argument, so therefore it's a bit easier to show you where these spots are where it's not consistent.
mm,
That's it. But there are some people who really blows my mind how that's even possible. But it's a bit more difficult to argue with them, because they don't think anything of an embryo or a fetus. They will say, yep, abortion is completely okay, even up until the very last day before birth.
mm,
They will say that it is acceptable to kill that baby.
mm.
I don't know what to do with those people. I,
Well, you're not talking to those people now. You're talking to me, and I'm going through my own conundrum. So we can focus on me, please. Like, um, I feel like I'm going through like an identity crisis right now. Okay, so um, okay, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. I just feel, I still go back to this. I just feel that because the child's already born, now you've gotten to know it, and even like it's gonna sound so horrible when I say this, but like an embryo doesn't cry, an embryo doesn't have a voice, and when I say voice, I mean like literally like "Rah!" Like a baby, a toddler is crying. A toddler is like making noise, crying, 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 crying. And I think maybe for some people that almost non-human elements in that regard, because it doesn't have a voice yet, makes it a bit easier for them to kill off an embryo, if that makes sense. Do I agree with it? That's what I'm struggling with. I feel like killing off an embryo, even though it's a life, and I do believe that, for some reason, because it's an embryo, it's not fully developed yet. It's not fully a
how about a
baby.
fetus?
At what stage is a fetus again?
Oh God, that's a difficult question. Isn't it 12 weeks?
I think so. Yeah, yeah. No, a fetus I wouldn't agree with. No, no, no. That I don't. That I don't agree with. Like an embryo is like in its beginning. I know that. It's a combination. It's correct me if I'm wrong. Let's start there. Let's start defining the situation. So as far as I know, in pregnancy, right? Sperm, egg, uterus attach, cells start multiplying. Correct? I'm right there, right? Okay.
Yeah.
When there's a tail, is that embryo?
The tail like the sperm?
No. At some point during development of the human life, there's a tail. The embryo. I think an embryo is. Okay, there we go. Embryo is first weekend. Okay, thank you. Um,
Well, yeah, after the egg has been fertilized,
yeah.
the pregnancy starts um after the first week of sex, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
All right. That put. Okay. Now I still feel.
Shame, Joe.
No. I still feel that an embryo. It's like it's. I know it's gonna sound. It's potential life. It is potential life. But okay, so it's potential life, and why I say that is because you could still have a miscarriage. There's certain things that even a mom, you know, unfortunately, babies don't develop correctly and
Mhm.
determined, then they die or whatever for whatever reason, which is a terrible thing. Okay, it's a very very terrible thing. I cannot imagine what those women go through when that happens, and I, as fathers as well, like I've seen some very excited fathers, and yeah, that happens. So it's a very terrible thing. But um, or not but, no but there. This is, oh man, this is so difficult. Really, it is because I keep going back to what I said. I do view an embryo as a life. I do see it as a potential life, right? But that's the thing, potential life. When you're in your example of the child, that's already alive. That's got fingers. That's got a brain. It's developed. It's learning. It's got a
Okay.
voice. And that's where I'm like, that's developed. That's now life. The embryo was potential life. So that's where
Okay,
I'm
so
like, yeah.
so so when does potential life change into life?
Someone said it here, with the fetus. I think.
With the feet.
For me, and I know it's not biology, but for me, in my own personal opinion, a life
Hmm.
starts when there's a heartbeat. So wherever that heart starts, that's where I'm like, cool, that's life. Now that's
So
life.
so, so a heartbeat is what determines whether there's a life or not.
Not in biology, in my own opinion. In my own
We are
opinion.
talking about biology.
Yeah, I know. Damn it. You see, guys, once again, Dee Martin, great lawyer. Okay. All right. All right. You're right. You're right. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't. Yeah. When you talk about life, it's life. There's no
In
halfways.
in in America, I think it was in Georgia. Um, they did pass a law called the heartbeat law, where they did effectively ban abortion. I think, I think, um, up to the point where there's a heartbeat and to the point of birth.
Mm.
So it's not to say that the pro-life people of Georgia think that life begins at the heartbeat. It's just that they they were kind of forced to make that compromise with the pro-choice people. There are very few pro-life people that believe that life begins at a heartbeat. It's more a pro-choice view.
Mm.
Um, Pro-life is more absolute, whereas pro-choice, they're kind of forced to give up what they believe because their arguments aren't very consistent.
Mm.
So many people do kind of have this view that life begins the moment there's a heartbeat, But
I thought that
that's
was the only one.
no, you won. Don't worry. But that's also, a problem because I mean, the heart is a vital organ. Yeah, sure, but we don't w- no one thinks that the heartbeat is an indication of life. I would think that it's more the brain because, oh goodness, sorry.
Because of the conscious
It's more
and
your brain because if there's no brain activity, then you're considered dead.
that's
But
true.
if you don't have a heartbeat, there are other things they can do to make sure that you stay alive. So
Valid point. Whose side are you on now? I'm
life is a
confused.
very what?
Whose
What?
side are you on now? I'm confused.
I'm trying to like I'm also trying to because I would like to compromise as well with pro-choice people, but I really can't because I feel that the only consistent leg to stand on is that life begins the moment that this fertilized egg has attached itself to the wall of the uterus. That is the moment where life begins, when your DNA has been mapped out, and you are considered a pregnancy,
Yeah.
a baby that's forming. So that's why I cannot, you know,
Mm.
find a middle ground. That's where I'll always be. But I do like to understand how some people try to make sense out of how they see life or
Mm.
where they see the first sign of life, even though many people have different meters for it.
Look, I think my wife is going to be very happy with this discussion. um, because
Good.
we've debated this a few times where life starts and if we were to abort what points and stuff like that. And again, that was hypothetical. It's not that we ever really considered the option. We both agreed that if we have a kid or if she falls pregnant, we're going to have the kid. But we were just seeing where we fell on the whole abortion
That's
discussion.
amazing. Considering that I was completely unplanned and my mom really didn't want me. She really did not want me. But because she's also extremely pro-life, she was not going to abort me no matter what. And it turns out she really loves me. Um, surprisingly, and she's a great mother and I'm a great daughter, so fantastic.
Well, there you go. You see, and that's the thing. Look, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I don't know if I can give a final answer here. Because I'm battling. I'm not lying. I'm battling because there's still. It's almost like it's going against my morals in a sense of or principles, because I'm very much a person who says everybody's entitled for their own way of doing their life. Not choice, but like just well, they're entitled to their own
But they
choices.
are.
Yeah, they're entitled to their own choices and stuff, and they're allowed to do what they want to do within the confines of the law, of course. Um, so I still, I'm still there where I feel if you're gonna abort, like I said at the beginning, if you're gonna abort, it should be a couple's decision. You should discuss it. You should have all the things. And I get it. Sometimes the father isn't always around. So in that case, look, if the father abandons you, all right, then obviously now you're left with this baby. That's a whole nother discussion now. But I don't know. I honestly, after this discussion, I don't know. I still kind of feel like the woman
Look, I
has.
agree with you. Like people should be allowed to do whatever they want to do. Obviously, we are on the side of liberty. That's all we want.
Yeah.
But we need to like understand that we're talking about two people here. It's not just a mom, it's a mom and a child. And even like when you become a parent, you now have other duties as well, moral duties to your child as well as legal duties.
Mm.
It's not just a case of, oh, I can still do whatever I want to do. No, actually you have a child now who you need to feed, clothe, give shelter to, all these different things.
Mm. All
And
right.
it's sad that we don't, like apply those same standards to parents of unborn babies, but I'm trying to change that.
Look,
Like,
you've definitely given me something to think about. I don't think I need time. I need time to really think about what you've told me now and digest what you've
right.
told me because you've made excellent points. Um,
Thank you.
so we have 15 minutes left. That went by very quickly, by the way. Yeah, we have 15 minutes left. So I really want to get to the conversation that's happening in the live chat. This isn't a cop out, by the way. She's good. She's good. She's
I
good.
get it, don't worry.
She's good. So she's studying. She's studying well. She knows her stuff. And this is why, by the way, I used to date a lawyer, not Dee. And I used to date a lawyer. And this is why we broke up because too damn good. All right. So Grim, I see you. Hi. Thank you for tuning in, buddy. All right. So guys, I'm sorry. You guys, there's a lot of comments to go through. Please copy and paste your questions or statements. Again, I'm sorry. I will try and get to some of you. I saw JC McFlaurin is the more recent one I've seen now. He says, what about those women? Let me put it up here. What about those women saying men doesn't have a right to decide as it's their body? Okay, that's a good point because I've seen that. And that's probably where my mentality of, well, it's a woman's decision, you know, I don't have a right to say anything because it's her body.
Honestly, I think those women are trash. I just have to say that. I think they're awful because they are in the mentality of it's us against them, when in reality there are only two sexes that we share this earth with. It's only male and female. That's it. We can't be fighting against each other. Unfortunately, pregnancy involves the both of us. Okay, it's not just women, it's men as well. Like I said, it takes two people to make a baby. And at the end of the day, men aren't fighting to have a say in your body, they're fighting to have a say in the life of their child. And that is important
Mm.
because at the moment, they don't have a choice. If you want that child, they need to pay up or they need to be there in any way that they can. They don't have a choice. So it's either we're going to give men a choice to, abandon their kids, and I'm pretty sure that we don't want that, or we are going to change it around and not allow mothers to kill their babies anymore.
But what about if, okay, so there's two scenarios here that I want to throw at you with this one. Okay, let's
Okay.
pretend for a second that we're dealing with a woman that has that mentality of, it's my body, my right, okay? What if the father, even though I don't think it would make much of a difference, but what if the father just abandons, says, I don't want anything to do with you, you're on your own, and then the woman decides, well, it's my body, I want to abort. What in that scenario? And the second scenario is, what if the father, God forbid, dies, accident, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and the mother cannot raise the kid on its own? It will mean ruining both lives, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Opinion.
I'm going to sound harsh, but honestly, I don't care. Life is life to me, and nothing is going to lessen the value of that baby's life. I don't care who dies, I don't care which parent is left. Unfortunately, there is now a baby, and we aren't just going to kill that baby because unfortunately that baby came about at the most inconvenient time. I don't really care about that. Do I have sympathy for people that are dealing with those kind of happenings? Yes, of course I do, and I would love to help them in any way that I can. Um, but at the end of the day, whether you don't have enough money or whether you are not mentally prepared for it or any of that, there are other options to consider. We are too comfortable with straight away jumping to abortion, and I'm not with that. Especially because when I was, I think, 13, I actually saw a fetus. My sister worked as a nurse for a while, and in her first year of being a nurse, she took me with her to the hospital, and she actually got in trouble for this when a woman came in and she had a miscarriage, and my sister allowed me into the room with the woman as she started cleaning the woman, getting rid of the afterbirth and all these things. And I was sitting in the corner of the room by the basin where my sister placed the fetus, and I was staring at this fetus the entire time, and I was like, "What the hell? That that's a that's a child. Like it's a baby. It has feet and arms and legs and little fingers and a head and eyes," and made me sick, absolutely sick.
Yeah, let's. Yeah, I would also be traumatized if I saw that.
Yeah,
Okay, moving on. Um, I'm gonna civilization. I do see you. I'm gonna bring that up just now. I just want to. This is some other comments here. Let's see here. Eleutheria saying, addressing civilization, saying, no, wait, sorry, that's the wrong one. There was one that Eleutheria gave that I wanted to bring up. There we go. You want to have sex, take responsibility for the fact that you could be making a new life. So, men and women, the fuck up, and man the fuck up, I think. Oh, yeah. So, man and woman, the fuck up, and be responsible. So, that's her opinion on that.
exactly.
The other comment I wanted to say, guys, soon Chico will be having a podcast. I think it's a brilliant idea. I'm going to let him talk about it when he's on the show again. But it's a really good idea, and we'll be talking about that and promoting it. But he says that he would like to have a conversation with you once his podcast is up and running. So just putting that out there.
That'd be great.
And then he also says that he feels that I feel like it would be great brain stimulation for me to have a discussion with you. Okay, so here's Civilization TM saying, does something which cannot support the basic functions of life have the right to life? Now, there's more. Again, do potential humans have rights equal and superior to an actual human being, i.e., mother, because her rights and the potential are in dispute? And I'll read that again. Does does something which cannot support the basic functions of life have the right to life? That's part one. Part two. Again, do
Oh, first question is my answer is yes.
okay. Okay. Um, again, do potential humans have rights equal and superior to an actual human being, i.e.,
Okay,
mother, because her rights and the potentials are in dispute?
I get that. He is bringing up a legal argument.
Are you also a lawyer of civilization?
Well, how I can answer that is okay. So, firstly, potential human. I have problem with that. It's not a potential human. It's a human. Secondly, the answer is no, because well, we already do this in law. I mean, minors don't have the same rights as adults do. They mostly do, but there's still some things that kids can't do in terms of the law, which adults can do. And even in law, we still break minors up into smaller groups, like the infants, the impubes, and the pubes. Um, so we already do that, where kids don't have the same amount of rights as majors do. Um, in some instances, they have more legal rights, in some they don't. Now, to ask me about what I think the scope of the rights of an unborn baby should be in comparison to the rights of the mother, I wouldn't be able to fully answer that yet because obviously that's a very complex legal argument, and I'm only in my third year, so please calm down with that. But what I will say this is that in the context where the mother's life is at risk, I think that it medically makes sense to put the mother's life first. So her rights would be given effect to in that context because obviously that's just what makes sense. That is rational. Rational. You cannot, I mean, in some cases you can, but mostly you cannot have the mother without the baby. One is needed for the other. Obviously, we know that.
Mm.
So in that context, I would say that the mother's rights does unfortunately trump the unborn's life.
Okay, well then they continue and say here, sure, and then fetuses don't have rights equal to a born baby. That's just a statement. It's not a question.
Yeah, well, they don't right now, obviously, because abortion is allowed.
Very interesting. J.C. McFarlane saying, our law doesn't give a right to unborn children. If a pregnant mother is killed, but the intention was to kill the child, the perpetrator will only be charged for the crime on the mother. Let me read that again. Our law doesn't give a right to
Yeah.
unborn children. If a pregnant mother is killed, but the intention was to kill the child, the perpetrator will only be charged for the crime on the mother.
That's probably true in South Africa. I know that in America it isn't. In America, you'd be charged with a double homicide. Over here, I'm not entirely sure. Here, I think JC is probably right. But um, what I must say is that, and JC can correct me on this because I know that he studies law as well. Um, we do give. I mean, there's this thing called the Nascaturus fiction in the law of persons where unborn babies have a right to inheritance. Um, yeah, this was so long ago. Like 2 years ago was so long ago for me. I can't remember everything about this topic. But basically, like the at the time of the parent or the um grandparent's death, the the unborn baby is deemed to have been alive so that they could be in a position to inherit. Therefore, when the baby is born, they will be entitled to the inheritance, if that makes sense. So we do give unborn babies a right in that aspect in the law of succession.
Interesting. I did not know that part. It's very interesting. Okay, so
You people do.
civilization. We got 3 minutes now, and the reason why I'm sticking so with time is because I do have another show at 8:30. By the way, guys, tune into that one. We're going to be talking about the dark side of comedy. Some interesting things have happened since my little rant, and I'm going to be talking about how the comedy industry has reacted to me, and it's going to be very interesting. And some of the other guys will be giving their opinions on what happens behind the scenes and how some comedians think. Well, actually, let me put it this way: there are a lot of good comedians, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're good people. If you want to know more about that, tune in at 8:30. All right, so civilization very quickly. Okay, but birth is more risky than an abortion. Abortion have higher rates of survival than giving birth. Is that just a straw man argument, or
I don't know. I mean, it's an argument. I don't, well,
it's
I
got a
don't really
question mark
consider
at the
it to
end?
be an argument because it doesn't have anything to do with the point at which life starts. Like he's I think, sir, I think you are trying to say that because, death is more likely in the case of birth than it is abortion, that is somehow supposed to change my argument that a baby has the right to life. Well, it doesn't. Oh, it's because I said, in 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 the event where the mother's life is at risk, then you know the the mother's life should be given preference to. Um, it still does not change my argument, though. It still doesn't change the fact that babies do have the right to life and that their life is inherently valuable, and so therefore, like I said, when it comes down to having to choose between the life of the mother and the
Mm,
baby, it's going to make more sense to make sure that the mother stays alive.
mm.
That's just it.
Yeah, he says it was in response to your mother health comment. All right, so
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta cut it here. Sorry. I do want to say, Kat mentioned something. A murder. Sorry, where is it? So death row is not allowed, but abortion is. That's a very complicated, I feel, discussion. Um,
Yes.
it that now, but valid point. But now we're looking at now the government and why those laws are in place and why other laws are not in place. And I think that's going to keep us going for at least another hour. But I wanted to point it out. Maybe I'll tell you what. I'll make you guys a deal. Okay, if I get to where am I now? I'm on 21 likes. If I get to 100 likes on this video, we will do a follow-up video. And
Shit.
we will tackle some of the comments because I know I didn't get to everyone. We will address some of the questions and some of the stuff that you guys mentioned here. So if you want us to do it again and continue the discussion, get me to 100 likes. It's not bad. There's 80 left. That's it. It's 80 left. So get me there and we will do another discussion. Also, Mikhail saying a few things. Okay, I'm going to leave that comment for the next one if we do it. When I said that we're going to be on the show at 8:30, come watch after this. I'm going to roast everyone. So he's going to roast everyone if you guys like that. And yeah, that's all I can really mention. Civilization says part 2 for sure. I
Love him.
I need D for a law related thing.
Who said that?
Unati, I cannot pronounce that last name.
Oh,
But
okay,
Unati.
okay.
As long as lovely D comes back, yes, I will continue the conversation with her, obviously, and I will go through the comments if we get to 100 likes. That's the goal. So share this, tell people to like it, and yeah. Also, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I have more content coming your way. Now, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I have to head off. So D, thank you so much for this conversation. You really have given me something to think about, and I think a lot of people are. I saw some comments where they said, that's interesting, and all that stuff. So I think people really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for being brave, and thank you for sticking to your guns. And wow, you're going to be one hell of a lawyer when you graduate.
Thank you, Joe. That's so sweet.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. Remember, 8:30, we're going to be talking about the dark side of comedy. I'll leave it at that, and Mikhail's going to roast everyone, apparently. Oh, boy. That's going to be interesting. Stay safe, be kind to one another, and I'll see you at the next one. Cheers. Hey guys, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and a share. That's how my content gets out there. Also, don't be afraid to comment. I usually do respond to the comments in the comment section below. If you want to support my channel, please go to the link in the description below, support my channel, and you'll be taken to my website, which has all the details. Also, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Also, feel free to check out the links below to my social media accounts. Give me a follow, and I'll see you at the next one.